Harold the human stretched his arms as far as they could go, almost like he was trying to touch the moon. He yawned a big, wide yawn that could have swallowed a small planet. Being a pet was exhausting work. Harold felt like he had run a marathon in his sleep. Harold's owner, Mittens, was a very important cat. She ruled the house like a tiny, furry queen. She had beautiful white fur and a sparkly pink collar that could blind you if you stared too long. Mittens liked Harold to be well-behaved and well-groomed, like a show dog at a fancy competition. Harold knew the rules. He had to be dressed, fed and ready to play by the time Mittens woke up each morning or face the wrath of the royal paw. Otherwise, Mittens would bat him on the nose with her sharp claws like a tiny furry ninja. Today was extra important. It was Tuesday, and Tuesday meant a trip to the park, Harold's favourite day, where he could finally act like a human again. The park was full of playful puppies. They yipped and barked and pulled on their leashes like tiny furry tornadoes. Harold held on tight to his own leash, looking like he was water skiing on land. A tiny chihuahua with pointy ears was leading Harold on his walk today, more like a drill sergeant than a pet. The chihuahua was very strong, even though he was small, like a furry little Hercules. Harold bounced along behind him, laughing and trying not to trip over his own feet. "Onward, my furry friend," Harold cried. "To the sandbox! Or wherever you want to go." The chihuahua barked happily and pulled Harold faster like a tiny rocket on paws. Harold was starving. He felt like he hadn't eaten in years. He waited patiently for Mittens to fill his bowl, drooling like a waterfall. Clink, clank! Mittens tossed kibble into his bowl, like she was playing a xylophone. Harold lapped up the food. He ate so quickly. You'd think he was in a speed-eating contest. Harold was not allowed to leave any food in the bowl. Not a single crumb. "More, please," he asked politely, with the biggest puppy eyes you've ever seen. Mittens ignored him. She strutted away to her own golden bowl, which was overflowing with delicious tuna, like a queen ignoring her loyal subject. Gap 3S. Harold dreaded bath time like it was the end of the world. His owner, Mittens, always made sure he was squeaky clean, armed with a sponge like a warrior. Harold splashed water everywhere, turning the bathroom into a mini water park. Mittens, with her sharp claws, ensured Harold stayed put, like a furry drill sergeant. After the bath, Harold shook himself dry, creating a rainstorm inside the bathroom. Mittens was not pleased, but Harold felt like a new man, ready for his next big adventure. Harold was bouncing off the walls for his playdate with Bella, the neighbour's dog. Bella, a fluffy Pomeranian with the energy of 1,000 squirrels, was ready for action. They played fetch, chased each other like maniacs, and dug holes that could fit a small car. Harold loved the chaos with Bella, and they always ended up in hilarious situations. By the end of the day, both were so exhausted they fell asleep mid-chase. After a long day of playing and exploring, Harold was ready for a nap. He had spent hours chasing his favourite ball, digging holes in the garden and barking at the occasional squirrel that dared to venture into his territory. His little legs were tired and his eyes were starting to droop. It was clear that Harold had given his all to make the most of his day. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the yard. The sky was painted in hues of orange, pink and purple, creating a serene backdrop for the end of Harold's busy day. The gentle breeze rustled the leaves, adding a soothing soundtrack to the picturesque scene. Harold trotted inside and found his cosy bed waiting for him. It was his favourite spot in the house, a place where he felt safe and comfortable. The bed was soft and cushy, perfect for a tired pup to rest his weary bones. He curled up into a tight ball, his tail wrapping around his nose. The warmth of his bed and the familiar sense of home made him feel secure. Harold let out a contented sigh as he settled in for his nap. Mittens, the family cat, watched over him from her perch on the windowsill. She had a regal air about her, always observing her surroundings with a calm and composed demeanour. Mittens and Harold had a special bond, one that was built on mutual respect and companionship. She purred softly, content with her well-behaved companion. The gentle vibrations of her purring added to the peaceful atmosphere of the room. It was a moment of tranquility, a perfect end to a day filled with activity. Harold's eyelids grew heavy, and soon he drifted into a peaceful slumber. His breathing became slow and steady, and his little body relaxed completely. He was in a deep, restful sleep, dreaming of all the fun he had that day. In his dreams, he was chasing butterflies and running through endless fields of tall grass. The butterflies fluttered around him, their delicate wings creating a beautiful dance in the air. Harold felt free and joyous, his spirit soaring with each leap and bound. The sky was a brilliant blue and the air was filled with the sweet scent of flowers. The vibrant colours of the flowers contrasted beautifully with the clear sky, creating a dreamscape that was both enchanting and serene. Harold's legs twitched as he ran in his sleep, a smile spreading across his face. Even in his dreams, he was full of energy and happiness. It was clear that Harold was having the time of his life, even while he slept. Mittens continued to purr, her eyes half closed as she kept watch. She was a loyal guardian, always looking out for her friend. The bond between them was evident in the way she stayed close, providing comfort and security. The house was quiet, the only sounds being the gentle hum of the refrigerator and the occasional chirp of a cricket outside. The peaceful ambience was perfect for a restful nap, and Harold was making the most of it. Harold's nap was undisturbed, and he woke up feeling refreshed and ready for more adventures. His eyes sparkled with excitement as he stretched and yawned, eager to see what the rest of the day had in store. As Harold stretched and yawned, Mittens hopped down and nuzzled him affectionately. It was their way of greeting each other, a small gesture that spoke volumes about their friendship. It was time for the next chapter in Harold's exciting day. With a wag of his tail and a spring in his step, Harold was ready to embark on new adventures, with Mittens by his side. It was time for Harold's annual vet visit. Harold, a lovable and slightly anxious pet, always felt a mix of dread and curiosity when this day arrived. The vet clinic was a place of strange smells and unfamiliar faces, but it was also where he received the care he needed to stay healthy. Dr. Squeaks, the veterinarian, was a kind but strict mouse. He had a reputation for being thorough and gentle, which made him a favourite among the pet community. His small stature and big heart made him the perfect vet for Harold. Harold didn't like the vet, but he knew it was necessary. The thought of being poked and prodded made him uneasy, but he trusted Dr. Squeaks. He remembered the times when the vet had helped him feel better after minor injuries and illnesses. As Harold walked into the clinic, the familiar scent of antiseptic filled the air. The clean, sterile environment was a stark contrast to the cosy comfort of his home. But it reassured him that he was in a place where his health was a priority. Dr. Squeaks greeted him with a warm smile and a gentle pat on the head. "Hello, Harold. Ready for your checkup?" he asked in a soothing voice that calmed Harold's nerves. "Hello, Harold. Ready for your checkup?" Dr. Squeaks asked. Harold took a deep breath and bravely nodded. He knew that this was an important part of staying healthy and happy. Harold took a deep breath and bravely nodded. He wanted to show Dr. Squeaks that he could be a good patient, even if he was a little scared. Dr. Squeaks began by checking Harold's ears, making sure they were clean and free of any infections. He used a small, gentle tool to look inside, and Harold felt a ticklish sensation that made him giggle a little. Next, he examined Harold's teeth, ensuring they were strong and healthy. Dr. Squeaks praised Harold for his good dental hygiene, which made Harold feel proud. Harold sat still, trying to be as brave as possible. He knew that the more cooperative he was, the quicker the checkup would be over. Finally, Dr. Squeaks inspected Harold's paws, checking for any cuts or signs of discomfort. Harold watched intently, curious about what the vet was looking for. Harold didn't make a fuss, even when Dr. Squeaks applied a bit of antiseptic to a small scratch. The cool sensation of the antiseptic was a little surprising, but Harold trusted Dr. Squeaks completely. "All done, Harold. You were very brave today," Dr. Squeaks said, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a treat. Harold's eyes lit up as he took the treat and wagged his tail. Harold's eyes lit up as he took the treat and wagged his tail. The treat was his favourite kind, and it made the whole experience feel worthwhile. He felt proud of himself for being so brave during the checkup. The praise from Dr. Squeaks and the delicious treat made him feel like a hero. As he left the clinic, Harold knew that taking care of his health was important, and he was glad to have Dr. Squeaks looking out for him. The experience reminded him that even though vet visits could be a bit scary, they were essential for his well-being. Harold walked out with a sense of relief and a newfound confidence, ready to enjoy the rest of his day. As the day came to an end, Harold prepared for bed. The sky outside his window was painted with hues of orange and pink, signalling the close of another day filled with laughter, play, and a few too many cookies. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a gentle glow over the room, creating a perfect ambience for winding down, or so it seemed. Mittens, the ever-attentive cat, made sure Harold brushed his teeth and put on his cosy pyjamas. She was always there, a loyal companion, ensuring that every nighttime ritual was followed to the letter. Harold loved the way Mittens would purr softly, her presence a comforting constant in his nightly routine. Of course, Mittens had to remind Harold not to use the toothpaste as hair gel. Again. Harold climbed into his soft, inviting bed, and Mittens tucked him in with great care. The bed felt like a cloud, enveloping him in warmth and comfort. Mittens, with her gentle paws, made sure the blanket was snug around him, her eyes twinkling with affection. She even had to wrestle a stuffed dinosaur out of Harold's grip to make room. She gave him a gentle pat on the head and whispered, "Good night, Harold." Her voice was soft, almost like a lullaby, and it made Harold feel even more at ease. The bond between them was special, a silent understanding that spoke volumes. Harold, of course, responded with a loud snore that could wake the neighbours. Harold closed his eyes, feeling warm and safe. The room was filled with a sense of tranquility, the perfect setting for a restful night. He could hear the faint hum of the night outside, a soothing backdrop to his drifting thoughts. And then the inevitable happened. Harold's foot found its way out from under the blanket, much to Mittens' dismay. He drifted off to sleep, dreaming of all the fun adventures he would have tomorrow. His dreams were vivid and colourful, filled with images of places he had yet to explore and friends he had yet to meet. Each dream was an adventure in itself, a promise of the excitement that awaited him. In one dream he was a superhero saving the world from an army of evil rubber ducks. The room was filled with a serene silence, only broken by Harold's gentle breathing, a testament to a day well spent and a night of peaceful rest ahead. The moonlight filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow that made the room look magical. It was a perfect end to a perfect day, even if Harold's snoring sounded like a freight train. "Harold!" screeched a voice. "Time for your checkup! And don't try to hide this time!" Harold looked up mid-cookie bite. It was Priscilla the parrot with a stethoscope around her neck. Priscilla worked for Dr. Squeaks, the veterinarian, and she took her job very seriously. Harold did not like checkups. Dr. Squeaks always poked him with needles and looked in his ears with a flashlight the size of a baseball bat. "No, thank you, Priscilla," Harold said, trying to hide behind a plant. "I'm feeling quite well today." But Priscilla was already scooping him up in her talons like a mother hen with a very reluctant chick. Harold shut his eyes tight. This was going to be a long, feather-filled day.